Hey everybody. What is wrong with you people? It's too early for this. I feel out of my mind because I'm not a morning person, so bear with me. I also think creative mornings should change to creative evenings because nothing creative happens in the morning. So when I was approaching this subject, I really struggled with it because I feel like everybody talks about connecting too much. Like, we're all way too connected. It's so irritating to me. So I decided to change my subject to disconnect, and it really goes along with my severed goat head theme. And I wanted to first thank Brandon Collins for helping me make this podium. Actually, he created it in the past couple of weeks. It was supposed to be a piñata, but it was too heavy, so it's my podium. So I made this graph, or this graphic, to illustrate what I'm talking about, right? So this is you, and it's not what you're thinking. It has nothing to do with sex. It's actually called The Banquet of the Gods, is the painting. And, you got your Facebook in your face, you got your Tumblr, you got your Twitter, you got your Vine, you got your, Skype. It's endless. This could go on forever. I just feel like we're so distracted now that it's hard to kind of connect with what's important and to kind of push through all the clutter, right? Hey, so stop doing this. Like, just get off of it, right? Who in here does not have Facebook? Really? Nice. Let's be pen pals. I will write letters. I have never had Facebook. I hate it. I will write you letters. Find me afterwards and I'll give you my address and you can send me a letter. So I just, in this environment, nothing is memorable anymore. We're so distracted by everything. It's hard to make something that's memorable, right? So I've come up with 3 steps to stop your distractions, okay? One is be patient. When's the last time that you listened to an entire album? When's the last time you listened to an entire album? We've got Spotify now, and it's free, and it's crap. You're just shuffling through stuff at the speed of light. You just nothing is even registering, right? What's your favorite artist anymore? Does anybody have a favorite artist? Besides Lady Gaga, who I can't stand. And then focus. Focus on the things that are important to you. Focus on the people around you. Touch humans, touch cats. Do something that, makes you feel connected in a human way. Just stop all this crap. And then vomit only when you're sick. We're all content creators now, and so I feel like we all have an obligation to make interesting things and put them up. Just stop throwing up on the internet everywhere. I'm not paying attention to it, and I don't know if anybody else is paying attention to it. So just be thoughtful about it, right? So this is me when I was 8. Look how amazing I look. I dress like that every day. To go to kindergarten, I was dressed like that. My parents painted my face orange every day, and this isn't racist, it's only half racist because I'm half Mexican, so don't be totally offended by it. But so this is me at 8, and I didn't have any distractions. None of us did. We weren't pulled into all this crap. Like my kids are constantly trying to grab my phone and play on it while we're at dinner, and we don't interact anymore. They're all just focused on this thing. So things mattered to me at this point in time, right? Like everything sort of was memorable at this time in my life. And so I grew up in Pioche, Nevada, and it was a small mining town out in the middle of nowhere. And it was just, there was nothing there. It was just a blank canvas. And so I didn't have any distractions. There was just endless time to play outside and experiment with my dad's weird stuff around the house. And, this is leading into why I have a goat head right here, okay? And my entire point of this thing. Tacos have a lot to do with it. I think tacos are a good way to start a story. And like tacos are the best thing in the world, right? But I ate a lot of tacos when I was a kid. And this one particular time, we were invited to some friend's house out in the valley. They were Mexican immigrants. And they slaughtered a goat for us. Who slaughters goats for you and invites you over for dinner anymore? Nobody. So this was a real treat. We were invited over to their house, and it was really sweet. But I remember sitting there looking at this thing, knowing that it was a goat, and I was just so offended by the whole thing. And eating it was repulsive. It must have been the oldest goat ever, because it was just tough and awful. So I tried to gag it down, and my parents were giving me terrible eyes, trying to, make me feel like I needed to show some appreciation here. So ate the taco, and then after I finished, we all ran outside to play, and this was in the yard. That right there. That was just sitting there, framed by the door, and it just stopped me in my tracks. It was the most disturbing thing I'd ever seen, and it was the most shocking and horrific and beautiful at the same time thing that I'd ever seen. Imagine being 8 and seeing that. Does anybody have one of those in your backyard? I want one of those. If anybody is a good sculptor, please see me afterwards. So this, I felt like, was a turning point in my life. It kind of, when you witness something and you feel like you're out of body and you can't quite figure out how to relate to it or interact with it, but it's amazing and there's something incredible about it. That's what I felt here. So this has kind of become my icon of good creative, okay? And here's what I mean by that. This broken down refrigerator in the yard would have not been memorable for me, right? If I had gone out in the yard and this was sitting there, I would have never remembered it. I would have just run around and played tag around it or whatever. So it needed this severed goat head bleeding out over the edges in a real graphic way for me to connect with it, okay? So here's my point. This is not interesting. This is interesting, right? Not interesting, interesting, not interesting, interesting. Okay? Do you get it now? Okay. So here we go. Turn it up. So, did you like that? So I almost feel like this is my David Lynch moment where like my entire life just kind of like went like that, right? That was what that was all about. So let's play Who Gets a Goat Head, okay? So I use this example as like, if I'm looking at something or I'm hearing something or I'm reading a book, does it have goat head, okay? So you can use this too. Whenever it's too abstract to kind of explain how you feel about something, does it have goat head, okay? George W. Bush, okay? I actually didn't really like this man until I saw these pictures of him. And, he's sitting here surrounded by turquoise glass, and he's painting with turquoise. I'm sure, I can't really tell, but there's just all these like really interesting, it's almost like an art-directed shot of him, and he's just tenderly painting. And for some reason, this just changed my thought about him. Like, he's a human. He's human. And he wants to create interesting things. Look at this. I mean, have you guys all seen this? When I saw it, I was so blown away by it that he created these self-portraits of him, and they're so carefully, done. The compositions are really interesting. They're real personal moments. So disconnecting for him was connecting back with himself, right? So, hey, he gets a goat head. I'm gonna have to mail him a severed goat head in the mail. So then Jane Seymour, I don't know. I didn't like her before. I still don't like her. No. Terrible. She's not a good artist. I mean, like, she just needs to do something else. She needs to go back to acting or something. Okay, more things. So this taxidermist, I feel, was distracted, right? They were probably like checking Facebook while they were trying to stretch the skin over the forms or what. It's a really bad taxidermy job, okay? So, no goat head. This guy, have you guys seen this before? I mean, making a wave out of dead wolves is the most amazing thing I have ever seen. I mean, do you ever wake up in the morning and just go, I'm gonna make a wave out of dead wolves today? And then pull it off in this way, and they hit, that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I would fly somewhere to go see that. So, goat head. Robin Thicke and Miley Cyrus it's the worst train wreck I have ever seen, okay? The most unmemorable thing I have ever, it is the worst thing in the world. The song is catchy. My wife listens to it. I don't like it. But, this thing was just a train wreck, so no. Edit yourself. David Bowie and these pants, okay? Let's go back. Look at this. These stripes, it's just terrible. But if he had worn these pants out on the stage, we would have all just been like, you f***ing get a goat head. You just own those pants. Those are the most amazing things I've ever seen. So, goat head. Please edit that out, please. Henry Darger spent his entire life making one book, and he didn't show it to anybody. He made this book. I don't even know. It's one book and one series of illustrations that go along with it, right? It's these naked girls, an army of naked girls fighting these incredible dragons. Like, that is mind-blowing. You go home from your janitor work, and then you sit there and make this thing, and then you die and nobody's ever seen it. That is amazing. So in 1950, he was drawing this. Is that the most incredible thing you've ever seen? It's a cat, dragon, rainbow. I looked at that and I'm so startled by it. It is just beyond its times. And he didn't show anybody this, right? If I had done that, I would be trying to post it on Tumblr or Facebook or whatever, but he had none of this. So, do you see where I'm going with all of this? Sometimes being disconnected really works for you. It really is powerful in a way. So, 1950, he did this. Look at this in 2010, Rainicorn. There's nothing new about this, yet I love it. Rainicorn is the sweetest thing in the world, and I don't understand her because she speaks Korean. But the fact that Darger invented her before Penn Ward is amazing. So he gets a go-ahead for all of that. Houses. Hang on a sec. Houses now are just so terrible. I mean, I can't believe architecture has gotten to this point that we're all okay with this. Look at this. I'm sorry if you live in something that looks like this. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of room, and there's a lot of room to do things in it, but it's awful. There's probably a lot of ways to get connected in it. There's wires everywhere. But it doesn't get a go-ahead for me. This, however, if you were living in a house like this, I want to come over for dinner. This is my favorite architect right now. I cannot say his name. I don't know, Fujimori. He's figured out this process of burning wood to make it waterproofed. And he makes these really bizarre, interesting structures that are both modern and folk art, and they're just amazing things. So for that, go ahead. Bouncy castles are, I mean, when is the last time you were in a bouncy castle and you had a great time? When? It's been a while. Sorry. It's all right. I mean, it's fun, but it's not incredible. And look at that exit. It's so boring, right? Like, coming out of that, I'm so bored. You fall asleep on the way down. But this, has anybody been to our Adult Swim Funhouse? We tested it in Athens, and we had it up in Comic-Con. We're about to tour it around, and Brandon Collins was kind of the head of helping create this thing, and actually Chris Golden, his art is all over this, so you should look both of them up. Anyway, we created this thing, this interactive space to kind of connect with fans, right? And it was a really abstract thing. We didn't know what we were going to do. We were calling it a fun house, but what is that? So we just filled it with all these really bizarre rooms that you interact with characters, and you have to. There's basically 3 exits. One is you have to crawl through a washing machine while the humping robot from Robot Chicken is humping the washing machine. It's all so disturbing. But you're crawling through this like small cavern, and it's the most claustrophobic thing in the world. People are loving it though. And this is one of the exits. I mean, that is an exit, right? That is something I want to come out of. You should apply this to everything that you do. Birthing people in public is good. And then there's this guy who, was and is one of the most interesting people in the world. He is still the grandfather of everything that I believe is interesting. Like, who in the world came up with 24-hour cartoons? I mean, nobody would have ever thought that would have worked. Same with news, like, who's going to pay attention that long? Nobody had an appetite for this 10, 20 years ago. But now, look at us. We're like voracious. We don't even stop. 24 hours isn't even enough. You have to have it up online everywhere, okay? So, but for that, he's kind of a grandfather to everything that we do. Oops. So, goat head. 24-hour cartoons, genius. So, this brings me to experimentation, having time to disconnect to kind of experiment, because I feel like all creativity is about experimenting, right? You can't get anywhere without messing around with materials or with words or with whatever you're doing. You don't get anywhere with it. So Space Ghost was a really interesting turning point too, because that was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, and then Mike Lazo decided to turn it into a talk show. And then people watched it. That's so interesting. So for all of that, 1 million goat heads. Yay. So I'm going to show a couple of things that we've done at work. And they're very experimental. Some of them have actually aired or been, become big things, and other things have been kind of pushed down and pushed to the side, but all of them are worth it to me. Oops, I'm terrible at this. So at the beginning of the year, do you guys know Michael O'Lean? He's the creator of Harvey Birdman. I work closely with him. We sat down and started talking, and we thought it'd be interesting to do this music video for summer for Cartoon Network. And we chose 6 animators from all over the world, and we basically gave them 10 seconds each to create this exquisite corpse, okay? So, and at the end of all of that, we were gonna stitch it together for a 60-second music video. We had no idea if it was gonna work. We were actually kind of scared because there was a lot of money involved. But we kind of limited it down to, I think experiment's good when you have restraints. You have budget restraints, or you have, whatever your restraints are. I think working within those limits is really interesting. So we gave them a color palette, we gave them a bunch of characters, and then I think Brandon Collins, who actually also did this key art for us to start the whole thing, right? So we started talking to these guys. And this is what came out of it, and I'm very proud of it that it actually made it on air, and it's just cutting through like you wouldn't believe. So here we go. So amazing that we got to that point with Cartoon Network that we were able to do something that weird. None of it makes any sense, but I think there's something interesting in that. So, and then here's another little experiment that didn't go really well because Lazo at Adult Swim wasn't in love with it when we were done with it. But I thought this was appropriate to show just because it kind of relates back to what I'm talking about, okay? So we created these bumps for Adult Swim, and they were too weird to air during prime time. So they aired in little bits at like 4 in the morning. So I'm sure nobody's ever seen this. Nobody cares about it. But I thought it was interesting that we like pushed it over the limit, and it was, there's something good about that. disconnecting. She fell in love with the internet fell in love with her, but it was really complicated because there were so many other people involved, right? So one last thing that I was going to leave with you guys. Actually, I've got several other things, so it's actually not the last thing. But one thing that I try to encourage with my designers is to kind of shut down your computer, walk away from it, stop designing on your computer. Draw, sculpt, do something away from it so, it kind of helps you connect to interesting things. So here was a project that we just finished for the Adult Swim Singles program. If anybody follows our music, you can kind of check this stuff out online. But it was basically, we offer a single download every week from different artists that you guys might know, like Killer Mike or Andy Stott, or these interesting artists. So the designers and I sat down and we decided we were not going to use the computer to do this. We were just going to sculpt these things, do these interesting installations. Here you go. Killer Mike, Mets. That was a costume that actually Brandon Collins did. So these are my last thoughts. I do a lot of freelance work on the side, and I've been lucky to work with a lot of interesting people along the way. And there's two moments that kind of stand out in my mind with those. One is this project I was working on with Danger Mouse and Sparkle Horse. They got David Lynch involved, and he did all this photography for Dark Night of the Soul, if anybody knows about that. And along the way, I was trying to do the cover for this album, and I had all of basically they shipped this hard drive to me with all of David Lynch's photos on it, and it just blew me away that I was like sitting there working with his images that he had taken. So along the way, I was sending these covers in and getting no response from anybody because I guess they were terrible. And so I got one response from David Lynch, and it is the only email or correspondence that I ever got from him. And it said this. It was in all caps. His whole email is in all caps. Italicized too. So it was like he was screaming at me, but also trying to be gentle at the same time. And, this stuck with me so much because it was like, yeah, I do have to try harder. I gotta get my ass in gear and work harder on this. So I worked all night and then came up with a cover, and everybody really liked it and moved forward. So try harder. Dang. Man, you gotta get a new clicker, Blake. This thing is terrible. Okay, so the last thing is the New Yorker reached out to me to do this series of illustrations for their science fiction issue about a year and a half ago or so. And I remember getting the email and I just about wrecked because Ray Bradbury was one of the contributors. And when I was young, I read his books and they just totally fascinated me. So I did this illustration and it ran in the magazine, and he died, I think like the day after. And that was so powerful to me. So right after that, I was looking for like quotes from him to kind of put up with this illustration, and I found this, and I thought it was so interesting. Dancing so as not to be dead. My tunes and numbers are here. They have filled my years, the years when I refused to die. And in order to do that, I wrote at noon or 3 a.m. so as not to be dead. So my last thought is, don't be dead. Thank you.